guys, so yesterday I received a PRP injection. PRP stands for platelet-rich plasma. Before I received this injection, I did a lot of research. I always like to know what's going to happen before it happens, especially when it comes to medical stuff. So I couldn't really find much about the experience of it. I think I found like maybe 1 or 2 articles about what it is and what it does, but nobody really shared their experience. So I figured I'd make this video just to let everybody else know, if they're interested, what's going to happen to them if they receive this PRP injection. Now with the PRP injection, what they do is basically they draw your blood, they spin it with more platelets, and then they re-inject it into the site that's bothering you. For me, that happens to be my right elbow. About 2.5, 3 months ago, I was at work, something fell and I reached out and caught it and it bent my arm backwards. They thought it was just a hyperextension at the time, but generally a hyperextension only takes like 2 to 4 weeks to heal, and obviously it's been about 3 months now. So I went to countless doctor's appointments. Of course it was covered through work because it happened at work, and doctors just kept saying, you know, I couldn't see what was wrong. They sent me for an MRI. The MRI came up clean. So finally, my doctor decided, okay, we're not going to get anywhere with just these regular doctor's visits. You're going to have to go and see a orthopedic specialist. So about a month ago, I went and saw an orthopedic specialist. His name is Dr. Putman. He told me that he thinks it's probably just the muscles that are sore still from the accident, because I never really stopped using them. I've had a weight restriction of like 10 to 15 pounds. Pretty much right after the accident, they brought it down to like no lifting and then brought it back up to like 10 to 15 pounds. I haven't been above that since the accident. They again lowered it to 5 to 10 pounds, and right now I'm at no lifting at all. To try to let the muscles heal, I have to do these stretches, which is, take off my brace real quick, I'll show you. So you have to take your arm and straighten it out, and then push your wrist down and hold it for 10 seconds. And basically what it's just trying to do is stretch out the muscles, because I'm not really using them. And if I'm not using them, it can make them stiff, and we're trying to let them heal. So I'm wearing this wrist brace. It's basically like the general wrist braces that people have to have. It has 3 straps. And there's a plate down the middle that supports my wrist. And he told me that he wanted me to wear a wrist brace instead of a sling because, well, for one, I have to be able to use my arm to work. I know a lot of people would be like, oh, well, then just, you know, don't work. But I work in retail. There's not much you can do in retail with one arm. And I just really need the money. I've worked days where I was so sick that I could barely even drag myself out of bed, and I was still there. If you were 103, like, doesn't matter. I'm still there. I need the money. So I told him, you know I'm trying to let it heal, but is there any way we could do something that's like not a sling so I can still use my arm? I'm sorry about the feedback if you can hear that. It's the air conditioning kicking on. So he put me in this wrist brace. He said that with the wrist brace, it'll keep me from moving those muscles as much, so I can still use my arm, but I won't really move the muscles. So it'll help them to heal. So he put me in the wrist brace. He told me that he thinks it's just the muscles. Let's see, where am I? Oh, he also told me that if it's not healing, that it could just be a torn ligament, which would mean surgery. So we're hoping I don't have a torn ligament. He suggested a PRP injection, and he said that he'd try to get it approved by my workers' comp, but it's a pretty expensive injection. I think mine was about $800 just for one. So they submitted it. About a week later, I heard back from them saying that they had approved 1 injection. So yesterday I went to the doctor. They took my weight, all that fun stuff, and then they drew my blood, which I'm sure many of you have had your blood drawn before. It's really not that big of a deal. And then they went and spun it, and I just sat in the office with my mom, and then they came back in with the injection. Unfortunately, they wouldn't let me videotape it. I really wanted to, but they said that it's a violation of HIPAA, even though it should be my rights, but, you know, whatever. But when the doctor came back in, he told me to come up against the table, and he wanted me to rest my arm flat like this against the table. he took a numbing spray, it's like a freeze spray, and he sprayed it all over my elbow, and then he stuck the needle in. I just took off the band-aid so I could show you guys the injection site. Let's see if we can get it on camera here. Right there. It was about a 18 gauge needle, I believe. It didn't hurt at all when it went in, like literally at all, because of the numbing spray. So the doctor told me it was gonna hurt. I didn't believe him because I didn't feel the needle go in. So I was like, okay, well this is gonna be fine. My mom was like, well, do you want me to come hold your hand? I was like, no, I'm fine. Like I didn't even feel that at all. And then he started pushing in the medication, and oh my god, that fucking hurt. Okay, so I have had my gallbladder, my appendix, and my wisdom teeth removed. When I had my wisdom teeth removed, I had a huge infection because my mouth was so numb. I chewed through the side of my mouth and got an infection. I have had huge cysts on my ovaries that were so painful. Like, I have had a lot of painful things happen to me, okay, and this was the worst. I immediately started sobbing, tears were running down my face. I couldn't breathe. I sent myself into a panic attack. I have really bad anxiety. I'll do another video about that. But I sent myself into a panic attack because it hurt so bad. So I was like, I couldn't breathe. I was sobbing. The doctor was really scared because he thought I was gonna pass out or something. He finished up the injection. He put a band-aid on it and told me to rest my arm for 24 hours. Which it's been 24 hours because it was at 2 o'clock yesterday that he did the injection. Ice, elevation, and make sure I wear my brace. After I left, I couldn't move my arm at all, otherwise pain would shoot all the way from my wrist up into my shoulder. But today it's pretty much fine. I can move my arm without much pain. I can still feel some pain back in here and up my arm a little bit. I don't really feel any in my wrist, but I think it's because I have my brace on, but it's not unbearable. All I did was take ibuprofen. He didn't give me any sort of narcotics or anything for the pain. And it wasn't too bad, and I have a really low pain tolerance. So all in all, would I do it again if I had to? The most painful part was just when he was putting it in. The healing wasn't really too bad. I mean, it's been 24 hours and I feel like my arm was the way that it was before, after the accident, but before the injection. So I'm hoping that this injection will help to heal my arm. The way that it's supposed to work is the extra platelets work to restore the tissues faster and help them to heal. So the doctor said that most people like to do 2 to 3 injections. He said with me he's going to try 1 and see where I'm at. I have to go back in 2 weeks, and I'm thinking about possibly doing some physical therapy because I am so tired of my arm hurting all the time. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer any of them. Alright, bye guys!